Hello friends, welcome to CloudVi. In today's session, I'm going to discuss the migration technique from IBM DB2 database to Aurora MySQL. Here the high-level steps I'm going to discuss. At the beginning, I'm going to create a IBM DB2 database on EC2 machines. Here I'll be using a DB2 specific AMI. Thereafter, we'll create the user, grant privileges, and the second steps we'll create a target database on Aurora MySQL. And the third steps, I'm going to discuss the steps involved for the schema conversion tool or the SCT. And the last steps, there will be a couple of DMA steps like create replication instance, creating endpoints, then performing the DMX tasks. And on the DMS tasks, I'll be showing you the two type of replications or migrations. One is with this the objects, the existing objects, and the second time we'll be showing you this ongoing replications. Now to perform this creating this IBM DB2 on EC2 machine, I'll be choosing a IBM DB2 specific AMI. Then we'll create the user. You know that the default user is DB2 INST1, so I'll be creating a different user. I'll be providing some grants. Now the grants are mostly required. It's kind of a prerequisite when you are using DB2 LUW as a source in the AWS DMS for ongoing replication. That means at the time of replications or migrations, if there is any ongoing activities going on, any kind of DML activity going on the source side, it will be replicated seamlessly to the target. Now to create an instance, I am launching in a EC2 console. I'll be choosing a IBM DB2 specific AMI. Yep. So I'll be choosing this community AMI. Now T2 small will be good because just for the RAM requirement, but just please note this is not in under the free tier. So this AMI comes with 30 GIB, so 15 GIB in the EBS volume will be good for me. Now let me create a new security group here. Let me put it as a database, and I'm not changing any inbound rule. I'll be doing it later. Now my EC2 instance is launching. Okay, let me log in through the EC2 instance. I'm logging from the backend. So I'm already in my EC2 instance. Let me check the disks should be mounted. Yes, they are mounted. Now I'll be performing some of the creating the user. For the creating the user, and then first I have to log in through the root. So I have already logged in through the root, and let me change the password for the DB2 INST1. The DB2 INST1 is the default DB user for IBM DB2. So I have changed the password, and let me log in as a DB2 INST1 and try to connect to the database. And this AMI, the database name is sample. In the next steps, I am going to create a user called testDBA, and I will log back as a DB2 INST1. I will provide the grants. Now, as a prerequisite for ongoing replication, there will be a either sysdbm or dbadm, and the data access will be required. So I'll be providing this connect dbadm, and this data access grants to my newly created testdb user. So first I have given this grant connect to the test DBA. Now I'll be providing this DBADM, so that because on this AMI that DB2 INST already having some sample schemas, so I want to use that schemas as test DB users and do the migrations. And on the last steps, I am going to provide this data access. Now I'm going to show you this is some of the how you can check this test DBA user. You can I have to provide in the caps the grantee, because the grantee name is comes in the test DBA in a DB2 database in the uppercase. So this will show you the what are the privilege it got. So you can see that why the Y mark is there, that data access is Y, and the DBA DM is also Y, and also it's having the connect. So that means these are the privileges we have we received as a test DB user that will be sufficient for us to perform this entire migrations. So another thing, one of the hard requirement is that for ongoing replication, that is either of the log arc meth1 or the meth2 should be enabled. Here you can see that the log arc meth1 and the meth2 is both off. So I am going to create a archive locations, and then I'll be enabling this log arc meth1 for ongoing replications. I may have to do these steps as a root. Yeah, let me change the permissions as well. Yeah, I got the permissions right. So to enable these things, I have connected as a connected database again, and now I have update the log arc meth1 locations. You can see this, it is already active, but to be activated these things, I have to restart the database. So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to stop the DB2. Yep, and start it. Okay, my restart is completed. Now I'm trying to connect to the database again. You can see that it is saying that the database is in pending state, backup pending state. So we have to take a backup to start the to connect to the database. So I'm going to take a backup right now. Okay, it's done. So let me try to connect back. Yep. Now if you can check the setting, it should have the logauth math locations is activated. Yes, it is showing the locations which we have chosen. So we are good to go for the replications. I am not going to enable this logauth math too because it is optional. Now in these steps, go to the security groups, and then I'm going to add an inbound entry, inbound rules in my security groups. As I know, this times I'm going to add the security groups a port of 50,000 because my DB2 database is running on the port 50,000. So I'm going to enable it so that I can connect from my source systems. For the sake of this training video, I'm enabling from everywhere, but you can really choose from your own IP or whatever suits you. So let me try to connect the test, using the testDB. I'm using a SQL tool called Razor SQL. Yeah, I am already connected to my source database. You can see this, the schema DB2 ANST1. This is something called, it came along with this AMI. So already having some sample objects in it. You can see there are multiple tables already there. So I'll just show you some of the tables, some of the maybe the row counts of some of the tables. And it's also having some views, procedures, some other steps. In the next steps, this is a target. I am going to create a target DB, and you can see this, the VPC should be same as the target DB VPC should be same as source. This is something a requirement when you are using a EC2 machine as a source, but if you are doing it from the on-prem, that is not a requirement. So I'll be just choosing a sample database here. Not much thing to show here because you already know. So I'll just do it, and it's a minimum requirement because this is a very small one. As I said, VPC is going to be same. It will be publicly accessible, and I'll also choose the same security groups. Yeah. So since I have to access this the MySQL database, I have to enable the port 3306 in my inbound rule as well. This is 3306 where the MySQL will be running. So I'll be enabling from yeah, let's do it from everywhere. Okay. So my target database is already available. Maybe we can go to the next steps now. As a you can see that on the next steps, these steps we already created this one. We also having this requirement set for the VPC. Now the SCT steps, there will be multiple steps. SCT first I am going to create a a new projects. You will know that this is the OLTP things. So my source is DB2 LUW and my target is Aurora MySQL. So at the first steps I am going to connect both as a LUW as a source and the Aurora as a target. For the DB2 LUW, the private DNS IPv4 or the public IP, whatever you can choose as a server name. And and I'll be using this entire steps through the newly created user test DBA. Now similar things for Aurora. I have to choose the writer connection, writer endpoints. Yeah, so I'll be copying the writer endpoints and use this as a server name. And okay, so I'll choose this DB2 AMI. At the beginning I'm going to create a assessment report that will show you that what are the objects is going to be migrated and what are the issues, what are the actions I need to take in. Okay, this is the assessment reports. It will have some colors. Green means everything is okay. Red means that there is some complex action need to be taken. You can either save into CSV, save to PDF for your further actions. Let's go to the action items. It's showing you some of the red items because like the MySQL doesn't support material SBU, doesn't support sequence, doesn't support LISS, doesn't support go-to statements. So if you click on my left hand side, the source, you can see that it's having some kind of red button. That means some of the things are red, so that won't be migrated easily. So you have to have some kind of manual actions on that. Like for the procedures, I just want to show you this the procedure called bonus increase. So if I'll go down in the procedure, somehow it uses the go-to statement. But unfortunately the MySQL doesn't support the go-to statement here, so this procedure won't be migrated. So if you want some kind of similar action to be done, you have to either do some kind of code change and you have to write your own things. So if you are okay with that, you can choose the everything. You can choose the convert schema. Yep. Now I'll apply to the database. Yeah, I'm applying to the database. Yeah, this will not bring the actual data or actual rows. This will just the structures, just for show you that these are the things that is going to be migrated, and here the issues. So this will not the actual data migrations will be done through the DMS. Now let me do the refresh from database as well. Now if you can show you this the bonus interface, that the procedure I was talking about, this is not going to be migrated successfully, because as you can see that there will be some go-to statement which doesn't support by the DB by MySQL, so it's not going to be migrated. So you have to take some manual actions. Now we are now coming to our last step, that is the DMA steps, where we are gonna first create the replication instance, then endpoints. They'll be doing some kind of additional option as a for MySQL as target. So let me go straight to the DMS. So let me create a replication instance at the beginning. Okay, I'll be choosing as a T2 small because it's a very small one. Yeah, the same way that 30 GB would be sufficient for me. So VPC, I'm choosing the same VPC, and also I'm going to choose the I can choose a different security groups, but I'm going to choose the same one. So it will take some time. In the meantime, I'm creating my endpoints. For the source endpoints, I'll be putting the source endpoint name as a source DB2, and then it is a DB2. Then server name should be the host IP or the DNS IPv4. Yeah, port is 50,000. Username should be testdba, and the password. Yeah, database name is sample. Now I'll be choosing the target endpoint. This is quite easy since it is RDS. Just drop down, I have to choose the password. Now create the endpoints. Now let me see that still my replication instance is creating. Yes, now available. The one thing I may missed because I'll be doing these test connections. So I believe one thing I may miss, that I have to put additional connections for my target. Okay, I'll do it later once my test connection is done. Okay. As I said, I have to put some additional endpoint specific settings. This is the extra connection attribute, which is kind of a mandatory for MySQL as a target for ongoing replications, or the replications itself, not ongoing. This is something setting the disabling the foreign key checks. So at the time of migrations, the foreign key checks will be disabled. So this is something prerequisites. Yeah, I'm saving these things. Now I'm going to create a DMA stacks. At the beginning I said I will be doing this migrating existing data, so I'm selecting the rules. I know my schema. This is the DB2 INST1. Please note DB2 INST1 in the caps, because this is DB2 is quite character specific. If you put the in the lowercase, it might not work. I have not chosen any kind of transformation rules because I am not going to do any kind of transformations here. So my DMS task is currently running. Okay, let me go to the table status. You can see that a lot of tables already been completed. So if I'll scroll to my right, you can see there's the rows, the number of rows here. You can see that it's migrated, full data loads, full load rows. So I already log into my target instance. You can see the rows are currently showing. So that means most of the things are migrated successfully. Now on the last steps, I am gonna show you this another migration task. I'll be creating another migration for the continuous replications. So and then I'll be putting some rows in a source table, and I'll show you that how the data is migrated to my target. This is something of quite critical in my our production kind of instance, where we are not closing we are not shutting down the database or shutting down in the application processes. The same way I'll do that, I'll be choosing this DB2 INST1. Only the thing the task type is migrations, existing migrations and ongoing replication. That is the only things. So once the migrations, there is nothing to migrate, it will stop and it will wait for my signal for stopping the migration tasks. So once I am done, once I am convinced that yes, I have migrated all the ongoing replications, I can stop the migrations activity. So it's now creating. So looks like my ongoing replication is completed. My full load is completed. I am going to insert some of the rows into my existing table, and I'll show you that how it looks like. So maybe I'll do it from the sales table. You can see another thing interesting about the status is the load is completed, the on replication is ongoing. That means it will wait until I said I'll put an action as a stop. So until so what I am going to do, I'll inserting some of the rows into my sales table. I'll put some arbitrary value. Yeah, let me put another one. Okay, I'll go back to my DMA stacks. I'll go to the table statistics, and if you can see for the sales table, it's already replicated one. I'll try to refresh my page. Okay, so you can see that there is two new inserts. So I have done the two more inserts. Let me okay, and the two inserts is already replicated, so it is pretty quick. So let me do one more. I'll just refresh the page. It should show 3 now. So this might be a few seconds, maybe less than a second, maybe few seconds of delay, but it's replicated very seamlessly. So that means we have the replication, the ongoing replication is happening perfect. Now for the post migration job, let me tell you that what are the things we can do. That we already checked the target instance. We can do a cutover. Maybe we can disable the source log auth method one, so that no other replications can be disabled. Replication can happen. If it is required, we can stop our database, source database, and we can delete the resources if it is required, like the source resources if it is required. Definitely you have to delete this DMS tags, like replication instance, DMS tags job, and then the endpoints, because it costs you money. And then you can take care of your source system. It is not required. I'm not gonna do anything because I'll be using for more videos at this moment. So I believe you got a good glimpse how you can migrate the data from IBM DB2 to Aurora MySQLs. I have shown you both the techniques, like full load and the full load with the replications. So please try yourself. Happy learning. Goodbye.